Hi, I'm Barry Ostrowski. At Barnabas Health, we believe citizens need to be informed about the important healthcare issues affecting their lives. That's why we're proud to support healthcare programming produced by the Caucus Educational Corporation and their partners on public television.
Funding for this edition of One-on-One with Steve Adubato has been provided by Barnabas Health. Life is better healthy. The New Jersey Education Association. TD Bank. NJ Best. New Jersey's 529 College Savings Plan. Turn a dream into a degree. Fedway Associates. Community Education Centers. And by the Northeast Regional Council of Carpenters. Promotional support provided by The Record, North Jersey's trusted source, and northjersey.com. And by NJ Biz, all business, all New Jersey.
This is One-on-One.
When you first heard that they were doing Charlie Rose and Gayle King, didn't you go, what?
People like laughing at others, so I don't mind if the other is me.
See, you go right into the character. That's what it is.
I'm bringing families together a half an hour each week. Man, I'm doing something special.
And so I do feel successful.
Hi, Steve Adubato here at Newark Penn Station. What am I doing? It is the 78th Annual New Jersey State Chamber of Commerce Walk to Washington. 13 cars, Amtrak. Everyone who matters in the world of politics, education, and government and business, they get on this train. It's a New Jersey tradition. Governor Christie says the year doesn't begin in New Jersey until this train actually happens. So they make stops in New Brunswick, in Metro Park, and Trenton, Philadelphia, Wilmington, Delaware, all the way to Washington. They get down there, there's a dinner where the congressional delegation, they receive everyone. The governor speaks, Governor Christie. It's a New Jersey tradition that's unlike anything else. New Jersey's the only state in the nation that does this. We're getting on the train. We're going to talk to the movers and shakers, try to give you a feel of what actually takes place in this, on this train, this New Jersey tradition. It's going to be wild and interesting, and we're going to bring it to you. So all aboard the 78th Annual New Jersey State Chamber of Commerce Walk to Washington. We're here with Jack Miller, who is the President and Chief Executive Officer of Solex. And Jack, let me ask you, for those who do not know what Solex is, why don't you share?
Sure, Steve, thanks. We're a company that does a lot of back office work for government agencies, both at the state and federal level. And we do a lot of work helping determine people's eligibility for a variety of social benefit programs.
What's interesting is you're originally from Boston, you said, and I'm curious about this. A lot of us from Jersey originally, come to believe that there's something unique about business in New Jersey, the culture in New Jersey, but because you've been in other places, is there something unique about the quote-unquote business culture, Jack, of New Jersey?
That's an interesting question. Although I'm from Boston, I've been here about 14 years, so I kind of view myself with...
Red Sox fan?
Big Red Sox fan.
Okay, well, by the way, can we edit that out?
Interview's over.
That's okay.
But no, so I view myself almost like dual citizenship, if you will, and it's an interesting culture. I see, it's a tight-knit business community, and I think, people are, trying to work some of the key issues, they're trying to create jobs and so forth, and I think I think it's the same everywhere. So I'm not sure it's unique, but I think it's a very strong and a vibrant business culture here.
Number one business issue that you feel this state faces is?
Number one business is job creation. I really believe that. I think...
is it harder here?
It's a little harder here, I think. I think it's harder, yet it's easier. We do a lot of back office work, and we can do that anywhere. And it was interesting. We had the Lieutenant Governor come to our facility a couple of years ago, and she did a tour, and she saw people opening letters and scanning them. And she looked at me and she said, "You're doing this in New Jersey?" And I said, "Yeah, it's not offshore. It's not in, some remote location. We like doing business in New Jersey because it's a terrific labor pool. It's really well educated, and we're able to, staff because of the nature of our business. It fluctuates a lot. Volumes go up and down, so we're able to, get people when we need them. We had a great situation once where we got got called to help the state of New York with Hurricane Sandy relief work. We got a call on a Friday, and we were able to recruit 30 people and get them in seats that Monday for training and get a program up and off the ground. I'm not sure we could do that in many places. So I think maybe a little tougher in New Jersey, but I think that the benefits of doing business here far outweigh anything else.
We are on the 78th annual walk to Washington. We're not walking, we're on the train. We're speeding along, are we not, Linda?
Speeding might be a little strong, but yes, we are moving. That's exactly right.
Yeah, this is the New Jersey State Chamber of Commerce walk to Washington. We're going down to D.C. and Linda Bowden from PNC Bank. You're one of the leaders, a member of the board, very involved in the chamber. Why is a trip like this so important, Linda?
Oh boy, for a number of reasons. I think first and foremost, it's all about business in New Jersey. I mean, obviously the Chamber is here to promote business, to sustain business, to ensure we have a very vibrant economy. And this annual trip gives us a chance to all come together. And I'll tell you, the second thing is networking. Real connections are made on this train, real business is done. And then the third is when we get to Washington, we get to meet with our legislators. Obviously, the governor is going to be there, and really have an opportunity to talk about the needs of the business community and also hear their perspective. So connections all the way.
Yeah, as Linda said, when the train gets to Washington, there's a dinner. The chamber has a dinner. The governor speaks. Members of the congressional delegation speak as well. And it's interesting from your perspective, as the regional president in northern New Jersey at PNC. How much does Washington really matter in the life of PNC and ultimately your customers? What Washington does?
Washington does, Steve. You know the banking industry now is a very heavily regulated industry, and so
too regulated.
Well, let me put it this way. I think there's been a swing of the pendulum. Obviously, Dodd-Frank was in response to the difficult economic environment we had recently, and so
2008, 2009.
Exactly, the recession, exactly. And so for us, we've got to be constantly abreast and very cognizant of what's going on. The legislation is still not fully enacted, so it's a constantly evolving situation. So Washington's very important to the banking industry, obviously very important to PNC.
And the kind of conversations that actually take place on a trip like this, you're talking to members of the legislature, you're talking to the congressional delegation. People often use lobbying as a dirty word. It's not.
I don't think it's a dirty word. I think really it's an opportunity to connect. It's an opportunity to provide perspective. And yes, we are sharing that, certainly from a PNC standpoint. Our message is we're a Main Street bank here in New Jersey. We make loans, we take in deposits, we work with people in terms of their investments and their retirement and provide financial solutions. And so for us to continually get that message across, it's a very important opportunity.
We are here with Walter Brash from O'Connor Davies. Now, you are an accounting firm, but more than that.
Yes, we are, Steve. We're one of the fastest growing accounting and consulting firms in the U.S. We have 8 offices throughout the tri-state area. We employ over 600 people, 90 partners, and we have 2 New Jersey locations. And a huge part of our growth has been in the New Jersey market, both organic with our core practices as well as mergers and acquisitions. And over 1/3 of our employees are from New Jersey and employed in New Jersey. So we're very robust about the market here. And we think we have a unique firm with a great culture and great leadership. And there'll be more mergers announced probably in the next month in New Jersey.
But I want to ask you, Walter, what would you say the number one issue is facing the business community as you and your colleagues in the business community are on this train talking to leaders in Washington and in Trenton?
Steve, I think that's easy. I think it's uncertainty. I think businesses of all sizes, large family-owned businesses, large companies, there's just so much uncertainty in the market. I talk to a lot of my colleagues in the banking community. Lending is basically stopped in a lot of cases because the banks are having a tough time making the right loans. The regulations are really having an impact on them, most notably the community banks. So, I think it's just uncertainty. Employers are afraid to invest in people, equipment. Financing is still a difficult issue. It's challenging. So I think we have a long way to go. And I think the uncertainty with the state economic engine and what's going on in Trenton or lack thereof, it's a big concern to business owners in general. And I think we still have a long way to go.
Sue Henderson is the president of one of the major institutions of higher learning in the state. So let me ask you, why would a president of a major college or university come on this 78th annual New Jersey State Chamber of Commerce ride to Washington. Why?
Well, first, it's fun. But most importantly is an opportunity for me to connect with some of the major leaders in the state. My very first year as a president, they said, you need to go on the walk to Washington, and I couldn't quite...
Did you say why?
Yes, I did. I said, what is it? First of all, you know, I've been in New York, I know what you do there, but New Jersey, it was fascinating. It gave me a 3-hour opportunity to walk up and down this train and meet, as I said, some of the major companies that are influencing this state and moving it forward. And being able to find connections, what came out of that were some programs that we now do thanks to what the people I met on this train. So it's an incredible experience. And as I said, putting you on a train for 3 hours with people that you want to connect with is perfect.
Number one issue facing the higher ed community in the state is?
We've got to keep those 30,000 students home. This state exports 30,000 students every year to other states to go to college. And I think we have some of the finest institutions in the state. And I'd like for them to stay home because get an undergraduate degree from here and then go away to those prestigious institutions for your doctorate or your master's program. We need them for economic development.
We're here with Jim Fakold, who is the President and Chief Executive Officer of Jersey Central Power and Light. You've been on this chamber trip before?
Second year. I was here last year in April. Great trip. Wonderful opportunity to meet people, make new relationships, rekindle old ones. A fantastic trip. Great time.
Biggest issue going on in the utility industry is?
Well, you know, there's quite a bit going on. You know, we're still recovering from Sandy. A lot of great progress has been made, I think, across the state. We've invested $250 million last year. We're doing better than that or more than that this year. So we've made a lot of improvements in infrastructure, a lot of improvements in just communications, letting our communities know what's going on. So good progress is being made. Still need to do more work.
Jim, talk about the communications piece, because all of us Jersey folks who struggled more, some more than others, and you know this better than anyone. A lot of folks said they wanted to understand more, they wanted to know more. Even if you couldn't fix things, they want things fixed. But how hard is that communication piece sometimes when you don't even know what the answer is as to when you're going to get to something?
You know, first of all, the way we communicate is changing. A few years ago, we didn't use social media. Today, we're on Facebook, Twitter, all kinds of different channels. We still use some of our old channels with our local affairs team. You know, we've gotten a lot better through process changes in understanding when we're going to bring the lights back on, you know, community by community. There is still a challenge in that, but I really think we've gone a long way to sort of let people know, here's what the story is, here's when the lights will be on. And that's what people want to know. They just want to know.
Now, your company is really the lead sponsor of this chamber ride, right?
Yes, we are. One of them, yes.
Yeah, one of the biggies. Why?
Well, again, as I said, tremendous value here, meeting people, connecting with the business community leaders, connecting with our elected officials. Just a great way to get to know what's going on in the state, build relationships. We just put a lot of value in what the chamber does, and just we're proud to be here. We're proud to sponsor it, and have seen value over the years here, Steve.
We're here with Art Hendela. Art, you've been on this train ride before?
This is my 6th time.
Because?
I make contacts here and have access to people that I cannot get as a micro business in North New Jersey. To be able to get the contacts inside of government and the business leaders of bigger companies, it's invaluable.
Tell everyone about your company.
Hendela System Consultants, we've been in business for 27 years. We do custom software, solutions for things like e-commerce, e-learning, things like that, all on the web using database technology, the Microsoft technologies.
Now, what's it like for you to be with legislators and others? Does business actually get conducted?
Absolutely. Last year on the train, and you may have seen me in the Ledger.
I did see you there.
Yeah, I met a person who knew a person who knew a person that landed our biggest client for 2014. So
did that really happen?
That really happened.
So,
yeah.
Hold on, business gets conducted?
Absolutely. It's not just meeting people, handing cards, but business gets conducted, and you meet people, like I said, that you just could not meet in other ways because we're a captive audience, and it's really good for business.
Let me ask you this. For people who want to understand what there is about the New Jersey business community, would you say, because people do business all over the world, particularly with technology being what it is there something unique about the New Jersey business community?
I think that we're positioned in such a good area that we have the Northeast corridor, Boston to Washington. You have so many people, so many types of businesses of various sides, and New Jersey being the headquarters for so many different companies, it's perfect.
We're here with Assemblyman John Wisniewski. All right, so how many times on this train?
15.
Get out of here.
I've been in office 20 years, so I've actually been absent for 5 of them.
What's it like for legislators interacting with business leaders and others in close, because they're close quarters. It's tight in these aisles.
Oh, it is. A lot of people think it's hackneyed, but you actually do hear about issues from business leaders that you would not otherwise have an opportunity. Things they're confronting on how regulations may not be working for them, or things that ought to be regulated, issues they're facing with the state bureaucracy. So you hear about things that you would not actually have an opportunity to hear about elsewhere, or not all at one point in time.
We are here with one of the most prominent political minds, lobbyists. I mean, someone that people go to for advice. Maggie Moran.
Mr. Adubato, how are you?
I'm great. Now, you just told me something before we get on this into this interview. You did this how many years in a row?
At one point, 14 years in a row. Then I took a little break, and now I'm back.
But who did you meet on this train?
My husband. Believe it or not, it's sort of crazy. And when you try to describe to outsiders from this train car what this is, it's very difficult to make people understand.
New Jersey is the only state in the nation that does something like this. Does it say something about us?
Yeah, look, we're a really parochial place, right? We got a chip on our shoulders, and we're very insular in many ways. And what's amazing for most people and clients and anything you really care about is you can get on this train, in one day and see everybody you need to see, which is actually terrific for the state to get everybody together, especially when there's serious issues at hand, which we have many of them.
Talk about the Washington part of this. There's actually there's a dinner in Washington. The governor is going to be speaking tonight, the congressional delegation. Talk about the role of the congressional delegation and what goes on in Washington and its impact on the lives of those in New Jersey, particularly the business community.
Sure. I mean, you know better than anybody, all right? We have a reduced press absorption in New Jersey, right? We don't have our own media market. So all too often, many of our leaders don't even know what the agenda is in Washington that our delegation is focused on. So it's such a unique opportunity for our governor, our legislators to mix with our federal delegation, the business community, to talk about what is our shared agenda and how do we move our economy forward, something that we've struggled with in recent years, more than other people have.
Real quick, we are taping this. Guys, it's the 19th of February. We don't know what's going to happen on transportation issues. Yes. How important is the resolution of how we fund our transportation projects long-term to the livelihood of this state?
There is no more critical issue than transportation for the state because it is the backbone of our economy as a corridor state in between the Philly and New York markets and housing the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey and Newark and Elizabeth, right? We have one of the most incredible income demographics across this country and this region. And the value of that is the Port Authority being able to bring those goods and services in and get them out to the folks who want them. In addition, the safety of our residents is really important. We're a densely populated state, more than most others in the country. So it's about the safety of our people and it's about the health of our economy. And if we fail to sort of address this leadership challenge, it is going to have very negative consequences in many, many ways.
We're here with Amy Mansue, who is the vice chair of the State Chamber of Commerce and also the head of Children's Specialized Hospital. I got to tell you, now we were going to be interviewing Amy in a very staid situation, sitting down, but we couldn't find her, so we went on the train and we found her, and everybody was hanging around her because they wanted to talk to her. Sure. Now you're about to become the chair. What does that mean?
It's the first time we'll ever have a nonprofit as the chair of the State Chamber. Nonprofits make about 10% of the total workforce in New Jersey, and so it's a big deal, let alone another girl. Ann Estabrook was the first girl, and so I get to be the second. Obviously, it's for Children's Specialized. Somebody may say, why are you doing the State Chamber stuff? Healthcare, how is it related? All of our business is related to making sure that we have places for people to live, places for people to have successful careers, and most importantly, an economic environment that thrives. And so having a chance to sit with the heads of industry and be part of that discussion is very important to us.
And for those who do not know what the special work that goes on at Children's Specialized Hospital, tell them.
Yeah, so Children's Specialized Hospital, next year will be our 125th celebration. We've been in for 125 years, and back in the day we were the polio hospital, and today we have the privilege of serving 26,000 children with special needs across our 13 locations, from the bottom of the state in Atlantic City all the way to the top of the state in Clifton.
This 78th annual walk to Washington, the train ride to Washington, and the dinner tonight is a tradition. No other state in the nation actually does it. What's it like for you down in D.C.? forget about the lobbying piece, the relationship piece. What's it like for you?
Yeah, nowhere do you have a chance to spend 2 hours with elected officials side by side, a chance to talk about issues. Even on the train, it's so much more informal. When we go into the offices, we have a full agenda. We're going through that script. They're always pressed for time. Now you really get to break bread in an entirely different way. So it's a wonderful opportunity, and one that we're very thankful that the Chamber continues to provide.
We're here with Bob Doherty from Bank of America, the boss. I got to tell you, we heard Bob was on the train, and I don't even know what train. We were in like car 7 or 8. We were in car 5. It was very quiet. We started moving, and action started happening on this train, and everybody was around you. Why? I thought the governor was here.
Absolutely.
What's this like for you, Bob?
The train ride is just an awesome chance to see a lot of the people that I work with in the community, both not-for-profits, the politicians, the big businesses. It's really, everybody's here, which is really nice. And it's nice to see them in a social setting, too.
It's really not a hassle, is it?
No, it's not a hassle at all. It's kind of fun. You know, you have to push your way through and try to see as many people as you can.
By the way, you actually do have to push your way through. Does business get conducted?
Absolutely. I mean, more about relationships being made and contacts being made, and you know, you're not actually finalizing on a transaction, but you certainly are making progress towards finding about opportunities and making connections.
Biggest issue facing the business community in your mind in 2015 is?
There are a lot of things that we'd like to see progress being made on. A transportation trust fund that's coming up very soon. We'd like to see a resolution there. There are a lot of business issues that, you know... Regulation, finding good people, educating people, you know, finding qualified workers. It's all really important.
Ralph, I mean, you talk to business leaders all the time as the chair of the state chamber, as the leader at PSE&G, but why is this trip so important? And also when people get down to Washington for the dinner as well, that's an important discussion.
It would be almost impossible for me to reach out to so many of my customers in one place. Just statistically, there's probably 500 of the businesses represented on this train are customers of PSEG. I've got a bunch of suppliers here. Candidly, we have a bunch of legislators and policymakers. The ability to talk about what they see happening in the economy, what they see happening in workforce development, what they think the national picture looks like, the regional picture. To do that all in the span of a few hours, that's not easily done. And this is the one opportunity to get that done.
And it's crowded. I mean, people are coming through, you know, and it is not, people say, well, it's not conducive to conducting business, but what is it conducive to?
Well, I think it is conducive to conducting business. Now, you can't have a 1-hour cerebral conversation, don't get me wrong, but you can then ask people, what do they think of this, or what do they think of that, what do they think might happen in terms of interest rates going forward, what do they think is going to happen in terms of the elections in the state coming up, issues that are important. But no, you won't talk for an hour on one simple topic, not with this kind of crowd, but it's great to see the crowd.
After all these years, why still so much energy?
Well, it's a great event where people can get together in very close quarters, talk about things, do business, make connections. I mean, this state is a networking state, and this is the ultimate in networking for New Jersey.
Now, there's a ton of folks behind you, and all sorts of conversations are going on. And legislators that we've talked to have said it's very productive. Those conversations, people say, oh, people are lobbying, per se. But they're having important conversations about all kinds of important issues, aren't they? Like?
Well, like the Transportation Trust Fund, like how to create jobs in New Jersey. I'm sure there's some talk about the estate tax, which is being around. Regulations that can be lessened to help business. I mean, this whole thing is hopefully a way for people to talk about how to make the business community better and create jobs. I mean, that's what the state needs, and this is a great opportunity to pigeonhole people and talk about those things.
Tom, talk about the Washington part of it, because there's a dinner that actually goes on in Trenton. The governor speaks, members of the congressional delegation speak as well. Talk about that part of it and why that's so important.
Well, you know, we're here to honor our legislators, our federal legislators, so it's important for everybody to go down there and do that. Unfortunately, this year, because of the timing, they're on break, but we still have 4 legislators speaking, and which will be great. We have Congressman Pallone, Congressman MacArthur, Congressman Norcross, and, well, I guess we have 3, those 3 speaking. So it'll be great to have 2 freshmen talk, which is sort of their trial by fire, and a couple of them have been on the other side of the dais before, and they're going to be with us on the dais now. It's important to show the unity. The governor will be there. He'll give a speech on hopefully issues that impact the state and what he's thinking about doing. It's just a great gathering where people who can make decisions are getting together, and hopefully some of the conversation they have will result in some decisions.
One quick question. I was asking you about what people are talking about. Well, what would you say? I mean, you mentioned the Transportation Trust Fund, and this program will air in a little bit, and we hope it will be resolved, but we don't know. If I were to ask you the #1 issue impacting the business community today as we travel down to Washington, what would you say it is?
Making the state more competitive, having the legislature stop passing legislation that's in the context of social good, start passing legislation to improve our economy, help our businesses that are here, the 300,000 businesses that are here, so that they want to stay here and grow here and add jobs. The panacea to every problem in New Jersey is job growth. So they should be doing everything possible to create jobs, because absent that, none of the other things we're dealing with have a chance of getting cured.
Thank you, Tom.
Thank you.
One-on-One with Steve Adubato has been a production of the Caucus Educational Corporation, celebrating over 25 years of broadcast excellence. And 13 for WNET. Funding for this edition of One-on-One with Steve Adubato has been provided by Barnabas Health, the New Jersey Education Association, TD Bank, NJ Best, Fedway Associates, Community Education Centers, the Northeast Regional Council of Carpenters. And by these public-spirited organizations committed to informing New Jersey citizens about the issues that matter.
First steps, first day of school, first game. When their first day of college arrives, will you be able to pay for it? NJ Best can help. It is the 529 college savings plan for New Jersey families, and you can start saving today with as little as $25. To learn about NJ Best 529 College Savings Plan, its investment objectives, risks, and costs, read the Investor Handbook available at 877-755-GRAD or njbest.com.